I want to do a walk around of my latest boat purchase. This is a 14-foot Chesapeake Bay crabbing skiff. As you can see, it's built entirely of wood using traditional materials and traditional methods. The boat was built in 2003 in a small town in Virginia by a company known as Brush Arbor Yachts. It is 14 feet overall, a little over 4 feet of beam, flat bottom, with, as you can see, a fair amount of rocker. If you can see how the stern lifts toward the back of the boat. These boats were first designed and built in around 1840s and 1850s. They were usually in the 14 feet to 20 feet size range. This one being 14 feet is kind of small because they were workboats, and they were called crabbing skiffs because that's what the owners used them for, and that's what the designers had in mind when they built them. Most of the wood is locust of the interior. The exterior is Atlantic white oak. The mast is hollow and round, and it utilizes a sprit Marconi rig. So that means it has a triangular shaped sail like a regular Marconi or Bermudian sloop, but the sail, as you can see, is laced onto the mast in old world fashion, and the boom is held in place by what's called a snodder. This little line is called a snodder. It runs up here to this cleat and runs back through the sprit boom, holds the boom against the mast, and then runs back to the end of the sail and holds tension. This is the rope, the line that you use to pull tension back to hold the foot of the sail straight. The advantage of this rig is it's very, very simple to set up and to strike, and pretty efficient. It's just no halyard to speak of because the mast is, the sail is laced to the mast, so there's no raising and lowering of the sails to the sail to go sailing. You just unroll it and stretch it out and hank it down in the back here. It's just controlled by one sheet, the main sheet, which runs through a fair lead here on the tiller, and then forward to a jam cleat so that you can jam it when you need to and unjam it when you need to, because in small boats like this it can be dangerous to lock the sheet down because if you get a puff of wind or they're so susceptible to balance of crew and gear that you want to keep the sheet in your hand most of the time and just sail with it like this. But if you want to pour a cup of coffee or something, you can lock it down for a second. If you want to open up your sandwich for lunch, you can lock it down temporarily. But what I like about these little jam cleats is that rope comes out of there very quickly. It stays in very nicely, but if you want it to come out, it comes out very quickly. The construction of the bottom is interesting in that, as you can see from the interior, it's cross-planked. But on the bottom of the boat, which would be too difficult for me to show you right now, the planks run fore and aft. Here, the planks, it's cross-planked, but the bottom runs fore and aft. So it's a double-planked bottom, which is a really nice feature of a wooden boat. The reason being that in most wooden boats that have just a cross-planked bottom, these joints tend to separate when they shrink, and then when you put the boat back in the water, you have to wait for these joints to swell up because of the water in order to stop any leaking that would come in before they swell. So with a cross-planked bottom like this, a double-planked bottom, like this, that problem is eliminated, so the boat can be dry sailed off of a trailer. And in fact, when I first purchased this boat, I contacted the original builder of it and said, "Hey, how much leakage can I expect when I put this boat in the water, since it hasn't been in the water in a couple of years?" And he said it shouldn't be a problem because it's double planked bottom with 3M 5200 adhesive between the planks, between the two layers of planks. So, and he was absolutely right. I put it in the water for the first time in many years, and there was a trickle, and I do mean a trickle. It didn't even make a puddle. There was a trickle that came through up here somewhere for about 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And then the boat remained dry the whole time we were in the water. I've had it out several times. It rows remarkably well. I love how it rows under just a simple pair of 6-foot oars. It rows very, very well. It is like a swan under oars. Glides between strokes. It's just amazing. And it sails pretty well too. Now, because it's a kind of a cat rig, meaning the mainsail is set way forward in the bows, there's no jib, there's no foresail. So this boat is not going to sail to weather as well as another boat that has, of course, a foresail on it. But it does okay. I sail downwind and upwind with it. You might have to tack a little bit more, but it tacks easily and doesn't go into irons. I mean, it keeps moving all the way through the tack. So, lovely little boat, kind of a cat boat type shallow rudder, known as a barn door rudder, and a really pronounced keel, which helps protect the rudder, and of course means the rudder doesn't have to go as deep in the water. So you can sail this boat in very shallow water, and I have sailed it in literally inches of water, less than a foot of water. So lovely little boat, Chesapeake Bay crabbing skiff, designed probably originally in the 1840s, 1850s, around there, and built. This particular one was built about 20 years ago, and I bought it from the man who bought it from the original builder and owner of it. Very pleased with this boat. And there you have it. And don't forget, God loves you just because you're you. And that is the truth. And I'm Mike Green, here to tell you the truth. Have a wonderful day.